Hello, fellow travelers. My name is Martin Desmond. Let me introduce myself as a naive Yahoo environmentalist who keeps thinking that we might be able to save a few scraps of natural land on our precious planet Earth. The 2025 Oregon legislative session wrapped up on June 27th. Over the past 35 years, I've dutifully showed up to the state capitol to either meet with elected officials or to rally with fellow environmentalists. I myself have a lot of patience with our elected officials, despite what most Americans and Oregonians may think, which I put in air quotes. Our state senators and representatives are miserably paid for the abuse that they endure during the legislative sessions. They get paid a monthly salary of $2,921 or $9.61 per hour based upon an 80-hour legislative work week. I recognize that we are a very bitterly divided country and state. I don't really expect much out of the Oregon State Legislature. However, I must say that I was surprised that the state legislature could not pass one extremely minor and utterly harmless environmental bill. We Yahoo environmentalists were promoting an environmental rights amendment with the following flowery language. All people, including children and future generations, have the fundamental right to a clean, safe, and healthy environment. The state shall protect and restore this right equitably for all people, giving the highest priority to the safety and health of children and future generations. This flowery language would have had no direct financial impact. Just as we say in our Pledge of Allegiance of justice for all, all know that there will never be justice for all. This utterly harmless environmental rights bill did not even get out of committee, even though several hundred people showed up to support the bill. We naive environmentalists thought that this would be a session of progress with new majorities. Let's walk through what happened and what, more importantly, did not happen in the 2025 legislative session. Let's start with the transportation bill. Lawmakers failed to pass a climate aligned transportation package. For unknown reasons, the legislatures waited 5 months until June to introduce transportation legislation that they knew would have a big price tag attached to the bill. Why not introduce the bill back in January and let people fight over the details for 6 months rather than a couple of weeks? Governor Tina Kotek has called for a special transportation session in late August, but is a special session for a couple of days going to solve Oregon's transportation problems? You'd think with coastal rivers running low, Oregon would act to modernize its 19th century water laws, but nope. SB 427 and SB 1153, two bills that would have protected stream flows during water transfers, both failed. Oregon's Wildlife Stewardship Bill, HB 2980, would have funded dedicated biologists to help communities coexist peacefully with bears, elk, and other wildlife as habitat shrinks. But that bill also didn't pass, so communities are left with rising conflicts and fewer tools to handle them. We knew 2025 would be a tough budget year, but this bad, Oregon cut or ignored funding for almost every major climate resilience program we had on the table. Let's name a few. Zero funding for the rental home heat program, zero funding for the community heat deployment program, zero funding for the community resilience hubs, zero. That's not just disappointing, it's dangerous. These programs are designed to protect people during heat waves. They cut carbon, they reduce energy bills. On the coast, it's even worse. HB 3580 and HB 3587 would have protected eelgrass, meadows, and rocky habitats. Gone, not funded. Oregon continues to underfund ocean resilience even as sea levels rise and federal support vanishes. Not everything was doom and gloom. A few good bills passed. Climate curriculum in schools, HB 3365, will hopefully ensure some minimum levels of climate education for future generations to understand how the climate crisis and how to respond. We Yahoo environmentalists played a lot of defense. Thanks to strong organizing, most were stopped, but not all. A wolf depredation compensation bill with no strong incentives for non lethal means did pass. This threatens the progress we've made on coexistence with our wolf population. Here is the bottom line. We have zipped across the climate tipping point. Oregon spent over $200 million on wildfire suppression on state lands last year. The state is likely on the same cost track this year. The Trump administration is hostile and even denies the existence of climate change. Most Americans will never take climate change seriously because they have too easy access to air conditioning in their houses, in their cars, in their place of work, and in their shopping stores. Climate change does not care that Americans are oblivious.